Now, Betty, what are we going to do tonight?
I'm gonna kick some ass!
Welcome to Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the Two Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. Episode 121 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirts and search for keyword True Chicago. Use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your official TCSF shirts now. Great stocking stuffers. As always, I am Big Z, and here for E-Rock is Mr. Ivan Vargas. What up, man? What's up?
What's up, Big Z? How are you?
Man, dude, I'm killing it, man. I'm recording a little later than usual. I usually record on Sundays, but, I felt like, I had to wait for the hot stove. I was waiting for something to drop for the Cubs and Sox, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But, man, dude, it's crazy, man. It's almost that time of year for me to get some time off, and I'm excited, man. What you been up to, man?
Man, nothing. Well, first of all, I appreciate you having me on the show, guest hosting on the show. It's really dope. When you reached out to me, I was like, oh, man, hell yeah, dude. No doubt I can help you out. But yeah, nothing, I got the kids, the family, Christmas around the corner, like you mentioned, just doing all this stuff. I got to set up the lights here soon. So I'm going to be out, doing my best Clark Griswold on the ladder, trying to go ahead and nail things or staple things to the house and get some lights up and make it look nice for us and everybody else. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, dude, I knew I have a good guest when I can depend on somebody who knows exactly what they're doing. I mean, E-Rock's has big shoes to fill, and I think you can fill them just right.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. If you're a first timer or a long timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review on your listening app of choice. You can find us on Facebook at True Chicago Fans. You can also follow us on Twitter at True Chi Fans and IG True Chicago Sports Fans. Don't forget you can support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. Go over there and click on that support button. You can subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. You spend more on coffee and energy drinks and whatever other vices y'all got. We can be one of your vices. Come on, support us. All right, Ivan, I know you like the show and I know you're a fan, but you got to tell your friends and they got to tell their friends, and then we can all just be friends. So if you enjoy the content, we make you laugh, we make you cry, make you yell, or just think, please share it with others who think just like us. All right, man, Ivan, I know we talked about like how you've been doing, but recently, what's going on this week, man? How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was awesome. Thanksgiving was awesome, spending time with the family. I was actually on the south side. I'm from the north side. But I was actually, I guess you could call it the South Side, but it's really Evergreen Park. It's Evergreen Park.
Okay.
My uncle lives out there. He's a fireman. It was a great time. I actually spent some time living with my grandma on 79th and Pulaski back in the day. Mm-hmm. So I'm familiar with the area. I got family on the South Side. But yeah, we went down there. It was a great time. Enjoyed it. Lots of food, lots of leftovers. Enjoyed it with the family. A lot of football. I really enjoyed the football. I feel like every day should have 3 games of football at least.
Oh, 100.
Just so you can enjoy. You know what I'm saying? So just because I for me, comfort food is football and actual food. Like that's like I enjoy myself when I'm around sports and stuff like that. So seeing a bunch of football on Thanksgiving was just enjoyable for me.
It's definitely a staple to have football on Thanksgiving. But what's your main meal? What's your main meal to eat on Thanksgiving?
Oh, I mean, it's turkey. We're just traditional. Sometimes somebody will bring something different. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a big family. Like I'm Puerto Rican myself, but I also have aunts that are half Puerto Rican, half Mexican.
Gotcha.
I have other people in the family. We have black, white. We have a lot of my family's very diverse. So it's whatever people bring. We usually sometimes we'll get tamales, sometimes we'll get pasteles.
There we go.
It's always a turkey. You know what I'm saying? Arroz con dules and stuff like that.
Now you're talking.
Like we'll get some of that here and there. This year was pretty much straight traditional and stuff. They had these what was it? Sweet potatoes though. There was just so I don't know who cooked it or who made it or what, but it was just fire, bro. Like it
like,
tasted like candy. It had like nuts sprinkled on top.
It's had marshmallows in it.
Yeah, it didn't have marshmallows, but it was just just sweet. Like it surprised me too, but it was just sweet. It was enjoyable, man. That was one of the biggest like surprises of the Thanksgiving was that sweet potato or dish or whatever you call it.
Yeah, is there something you don't like that you completely avoid like the plague?
Cranberry sauce.
Same.
I don't get it. I never did. I'm just like, whenever it comes around, just like, dude, get this shit away from me. Yeah. I don't want it near my plate. Don't touch any of my food. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Don't touch any of my food with it. So yeah, cranberry sauce.
Oh man, you know what? I'm not that big of a turkey fan. I think it's just dry. I don't think it's just like chicken. It's really no point to it. You know, give me a baked ham. That's where I'm at. Give me a baked ham with some arroz con gandules. Give me some pasteles, some tamales. I'm not a big potato salad guy, so I stay away from that too. But cranberry sauce is the one thing I do not want it touching anything. I don't even want touching the table. That's how. Put that back in the kitchen. If you want some of that crap, go get that over there. Because
leave it in the can. Leave it in the can.
Leave it at the store. Leave it at the store.
Yeah, leave it at the store.
Don't even pick that shit up, man. I mean, for me, man, it's been crazy. Another week in the books. I'm literally doing a countdown because, you know, I'm a teacher. So like, man, these kids are on fucking 14, man. They're just, man. And, you know, society's changing. There's a lot less repercussions for stuff that kids do. And it's kind of frustrating as a teacher. And I get it, man. I'm 2 weeks away from vacation. I know the kids are antsy. The teachers are antsy. And I'm looking forward to the holiday season to catch up on stuff around the house. And just like you say, like you're going to be putting lights and stuff like that, man. I found boxes and boxes of stuff of like old paperwork from like 20 years ago. And I got to go through it. I don't know what sensitive information is there or, you know, old term papers. I don't know what's in there. But I got to go through it. So I'm looking forward to knocking that out and also reorganizing my little studio here, my second bedroom here. Going to reorganize this, make it a little bit more studio friendly for myself. So that's,
you should just take all that sock stuff and throw it away.
Oh, wow, bro. Bro, look at there's Jordan stuff. There's Blackhawks.
Leave all that. Just get the other stuff out of the way. Like that's
my Bears section.
Stuff, dog.
You know what? My stuff that I have for the Cubs. Let's see. Do I have any Cubs here? No. I gave E-Rock last Christmas, 2 Christmas ago. I had a Lee Smith signed baseball. I went to a bar crawl and I saw him. I'm like, wait a second, that's Lee Smith. So I run to the store it was in Wrigley. I run to the store. I'm like, I need a baseball. I don't care what it is. Just give me a baseball. You know, I paid whatever, $12-$18 for it. And I'm like, ran back to Lee. I'm like, hey, Lee, can you sign this for me? Yeah, he signs it. 498 saves. Pop, signs it. Boom. There you go, brother. And I had it here for a while. I have like a huge baseball and bat collection. That's all in the other rooms. But I was like, you know what? As much as a baseball head as I appreciate this, I think he would appreciate it a little more.
Right,
right. You know, it's in a studio and it's in a prime location. As soon as you walk in, you can see it. But you know, I don't hate the Cubs. I go to Cubs games. I don't hate the Cubs. You know, the colors are great. The team itself, when they're on the field, is pretty good. What I do not appreciate is ignorant Cubs fans, and that goes the same thing on the South Side, though. You know, I can't deal with the ignorant baseball fan. If you don't know who's on your team, who's pitching, if you don't know the last time you were in the playoffs, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. I'll sit down with a Cub fan and we'll talk and debate baseball all day. But if you're knowledgeable, then you know that's all. That's my cup of tea. I am not dealing with that ignorant shit. So I stay away from those type of people because you don't know anything. You're just a bandwagon fan, or I just moved to Lakeview and I'm a Cub fan.
Right. And trust me, it's frustrating seeing some of the bandwagon fan, like some of the newer fans, I call it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get frustrated. And I'm mostly teasing about the Sox stuff. I'm mostly teasing, but growing up, like I said, half my family's on the South Side. So my uncle's just relentless when it came to making fun of the Cubs and me. And obviously me being a little kid, all like, stop making fun of me. But it was, it is what it is. I remember actually Thanksgiving in 16 when they won.
Oh shit!
I remember me and my brother came in. We came in with the W flag. We were playing "Go Cubs Go" throughout the house like it was a parade. So it's like it was fun back and forth. You know, it's fun back and forth. But it's banter. But like you said, there's people who know baseball. There's people who know sports in general. I don't like bad sports talk. It really like just irks me to hear bad sports talk. It burns my ears, especially when it's like, you know, something that I know, and obviously maybe you too as well, being a sports junkie. You're like, man, dog, like let's say there isn't a conversation, you know what I'm saying? You just overhearing somebody, you almost want to jump in and be like, hey.
Yeah, that happens too many times sitting at the bar. I'm like, nope, let me stay the fuck away from that because that's going to be a bad conversation. Yeah,
100%. And I get it. Like, look, there's a lot of bad to talk about the Cubs and the Sox. Like, and we don't have to go ahead and beat a dead horse. Like I said, when it gets to be fun and you're with your friends, you're going back and forth, or you're with your family, you're going back and forth with it. That's cool. But like when you're talking to just meatheads and that are just like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this argument with the Cubs just because, you know, you're a fan, you got to be smart about it. You can't, like you said, you can't not know the players on your team. You can't just be talking, you know, off your ass and expect somebody who knows sports to go ahead and want to continue the conversation with you. It's just, it doesn't work that way. So yeah, I understand it, man. I completely get it.
Oh man, that burns my chaps. Whatever the term is, but you know, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, are you a bowler?
I'm not a bowler.
Oh, okay. I'm
not a bowler.
You don't bowl, or you just don't like the sport, or what?
I just don't bowl. I mean, here and there, like you go to a birthday party or something, you bowl. It's just I never picked up bowling. I actually picked up darts more than I picked up bowling, and even that was just like a little blip. You know what I'm saying? I actually really enjoy playing pool.
Okay,
if we're talking about like those off sports, you know,
right?
So I actually enjoy pool over bowling and stuff like that. But I never really bowled as much. No.
All right, so I know you don't know this, but I'm exactly, well, a little bit over now 3 years post-op of having my hip redone. So I had to like relearn how to walk, relearn how to do all the sports, you know, coordination and all that, and then building up my strength. So it's taken a while. Obviously, as you get older, it takes a lot longer. So, you know, right now I'm like, you know, on cloud 12 because I've been bowling over 200 for the past couple of weeks. You know, like 2 weeks ago, I finally broke the 200 mark, and then we had a turkey tournament, you know, bowling tournament at one of the bowling alleys, and again I broke 200, and then this past week again 200, and it's just like, you know, I bowled at 212. My high is a 228 when I used to be a straight bowler, you know, in my teens. You know, when I was just like, I'm just gonna throw the ball as hard as I can down the lane and let them explode. And now I'm a little bit more of a finesse bowler. You know, I've learned how to curve the ball and all that fancy stuff, but it's taken a while, and it's really like a sense of accomplishment and a sense of relief at the same time. Because if you're trying to get back to what you used to, and you know, if you're playing, you know, pool, and you know, you have those moments where you're like, man, I suck, and I'm doing the right thing, I'm going the right approach, everything's right, and it's just not falling. And you know, I go through those streaks where nothing is working right, and I get in my head, and it gets even worse. So I know you can understand that. So.
Yeah. No, I get it. And yeah, because 300 is the highest, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So you're obviously doing pretty good, you know, in the bowling thing. I think I would be, if I want to guess, I'm pretty sure I'd be like in that mid to low 100 range. Like that's probably where I'm gonna end up being with bowling, because like I said, I'm not good at all.
Oh, it's all right, man. It's like you said, it's just practice. But if you play darts and you play billiards, it's hand-eye coordination, and you're throwing something across the room, you know. So I think you'd be able to pick it up if you fell in love with it. It'd be something that I think you can advance very, very quickly, because it's pretty much the same kind of thing. You want a repetition, you want the same release. Everything has to be exactly the same, and that's the hardest part. Just like, you know, baseball, any sport, you have to have the same exact movement. So that's pretty much what I've been up to, man. So for my fans out there, if you want to follow my adventures on IG, Big Z _606 Media Group, or 606 Media Group on IG as our page, main page. Oh man.
In this episode, we'll check on the not so hot stove and all our teams in the loop. All that plus stirring the pot and what you looking at. But first, this is the Big Three with Big Z.
Thanks, Ivan. I'm Big Z, and you're not. Now for today's stories. All right, story number 1. And ladies and gentlemen, this story will teach you not to be nosy. An argument between two men over a golf game led to one golfer to bite the nose of the other one in a parking lot of a casino. Police said officers responding to a complaint of an assault in a Hollywood casino this past Monday night arrived to find the victim with a disfiguring facial injury. The statement said the investigation determined that the suspect, Mark Curtis Wells, bit the nose off the victim, Short said. The nose was not found as the victim was taken to the hospital. Officers were told that Wells and the victim had been arguing throughout the day over a golf game that they played at the resort course. This is crazy, man.
That's insane. What did he swallow? Did he eat the nose?
They never found it.
I'd like to take his face off.
They never found the nose. He must have took that and threw it.
He probably chucked it in a pond or something.
Yeah, something like it's in the sand trap. Somebody go check the sand trap. Rake the sand trap. It's probably in there. But that's insane, man. Like an argument over golf. I mean, you must have been betting. Like you definitely were betting money. Like money was involved in order for this to go ahead and escalate the way it did. But yeah, to bite off his nose, man, you gotta be a sick individual.
Oh my God.
Or you have to be losing a lot of money to have bit somebody's nose off. That's insane.
I mean, if you're playing Michael Jordan and he hustles the shit out of you, I can see how you're mad and shit. Like, you know, he just hustled me for like, you know, 10 grand like he did Ron Artest or whoever the hell he played golf with. I mean, there's got to be money involved. He probably like lost a night with his wife or something. They probably put an indecent proposal out there and it just went awry. I mean, this is crazy. Golf is one of those games that you go and you're just shooting the shit and, you know, you're drinking, you're having a good time. Yeah, you make some side bets, but I don't see like I'm gonna bite my friend's nose off.
Yeah, I mean, I've never thought golf was an aggressive game, but like I guess
it's a contact sport now.
Yeah, right. It's a contact sport now. But yeah, man, I don't see it. But like I said, there's probably other things, underlying
there's
things
got to be other
that
factors
were going on. Exactly, no doubt. And dude snapped. Like I said, dude said, like that's it. That's a crazy person right there. Like
oh my God.
I wouldn't even go near that person. Like if I found out, or if I was his neighbor and I found out he bit somebody's nose off, yeah, we're not talking anymore.
No, like, straight up Nicolas Cage. Straight up Nicolas Cage. I want his face. All right, story number 2. Police in Texas said they apprehended a reckless driver that turned out to be a dog after 2 vehicles were hit in a Walmart parking lot. Of course, it's Walmart. The owner of one of the vehicles said he saw the suspect barreling down on him, but he was unable to avoid the crash. He was shocked to see a dog in the driver's seat. The Kilgore Police Department confirmed the dog was behind the wheel at the time of the crash. 2 things. It's Walmart and Texas.
And a dog, driving the car. I'm more impressed with the dog driving the car. I mean, that's I can't even tell you how that happened. Like,
yeah,
it's gotta be in Texas. Like, it's similar to like Florida. Got to be in Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some crazy shit like that. But Walmart is the key. Walmart was like you can't be shocked that Walmart was involved at whatsoever.
No, definitely not. So it looks like the car was left on, obviously for the dog, for the AC and whatever. And I guess the dog was getting antsy, and he just, you know, it's probably the leash. What I'm thinking is the leash got caught on the shifter. That's probably what kicked it off. So, you know, dog gets, you know, puts it in drive, and it's gonna keep going. And for me, like you said, the dog actually putting his hands on the steering wheel is the kicker right there.
Yeah. You know what? To be honest, like, why would you leave? Like, look, I know people are carrying guns out there in Texas and stuff like that, so you could feel more safe. But why would you leave your car running with the keys in it? Yeah. Like even going to Walmart, like I mean, like I said, I shouldn't be shocked because you're going to Walmart, but like, why would you even do that? The window is good enough, bro. Like it's just crack the window a little bit. You know, and there you go. You can keep your keys. No, nothing's going on with the car. The dog can't steal the car. So there you go. I don't know. That's on the owner. And
100%. That's on the owner. Like, first of all, you know, I've done it. I've taken my dog with me when I go shopping, but it's like to get like like something quick into a convenience store. I'm in and out within 2 minutes. Or I'm picking up a pizza. I take my dog. He's in the back seat. Windows are down, whatever. Cool. But the keys, I take them with me. There's no, first of all, if someone steals my truck and with the dog in, I'm more concerned about my dog than the truck. I can replace the truck. Can't replace my dog. All right, man, let's move on. Story number 3, and this is exactly why I live alone. A 72-year-old woman has been arrested after she allegedly switched off the hospital roommate's ventilator twice because she was annoyed by the sound it made. This is she told this was by the authorities in Germany. A woman was jailed on a suspicion of attempted manslaughter following the incident at the hospital at the southwestern city of Mannheim in Germany this past Tuesday. Police and prosecutors said in a statement that the suspect is alleged to have switched off the 79-year-old woman ventilator, and despite being told by the staff it was vital for the patient, he switched it off again later in the evening. The older patient had to be revived, and then her life is no longer in danger, still requires intensive care. This is some what was that show? Not Perfect Stranger. It was the Odd Couple. They got each other's nerves and shit, and they would do some crazy shit to each other. I mean, what kind of bullshit is this? I mean, I guess it's the beeping, right? That's what I'm thinking it is.
Yeah, I'm the beeping, or she's on a ventilator, so maybe there's like some type of like
the compression of the air,
yeah,
right?
The compression, right, the air compression. But that woman had to have known what she was doing.
100%.
That woman knew what the fuck. Like she knows what a ventilator is. Like, you're 72 years old. There's bad blood there. I know that. Like two old ladies. Like, look, old people when they get mad, it's forever mad.
Yeah, it's like little kids. They're like little kids. It's like, oh, fuck that. I don't like that person no more.
Yeah. Dude, to hell with her. Man, like I said, she went ahead and did that just because of the little beeping or the little the air compression. But she had to have known. She had to have known what she was doing. She had to have known that this would have killed the lady. And I think that's what she meant to do. I don't know if she's senile or whatever. No, but
twice
she had to have known, bro.
Twice, and you were told after the first time, like, bro, you're gonna kill her. You're gonna kill her. She's like, I can go fuck.
I'm trying to go to sleep.
I'm pulling the plug on this bitch. All right, I'm Big Z, and that's news to me. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. So do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, what's up? This is Lex Cruz from Jungle AE Recording Studios and Illinois Media School, and you are now listening to True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. In for E-Rock is Ivan Vargas. He is holding it down for E-Rock. So thanks for coming on, bro. You know, you're doing a great job. Thank you. We're probably going to have you as a guest host more often, sir.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I'm open to it. Like I said, I appreciate it. I'm glad I didn't screw anything up yet. So we'll go from there. We'll keep it as a positive. I haven't messed anything up yet.
There we go. All right, this is The Loop, our Chicago Sports Roundup, where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
All right, Ivan, we are going to start with my team because there's probably not much news going on with the White Sox. The hot stove isn't so hot right now. We got the water on there. It's on low. It's simmering. But you know what? I don't see the White Sox boiling anything. No pasta, no potatoes. I don't see them doing anything. last week we covered the Clevenger signing, and there hasn't been any other activity by the White Sox as of Monday night. So right now, expect more of Leory Garcia playing second base, shortstop, right field, left field. Anytime TA is injured or suspended, you'll see him there. We still don't have a definite left fielder or right fielder because our right field's moving to first base. Our catcher is always hurt. So he's playing like 75 games, and our backup catchers ain't that great. The only thing we have going for ourselves right now is that we have a strong pitching staff.
Yeah, with the White Sox and how everything has played out in the past couple of years, and like I said, I take shots when I take shots, but in all seriousness, the team, in my opinion, and I'm sure everybody in White Sox Nation thought that this team was going to be World Series contenders, no doubt. And and honestly, on paper, that's what it is. Tony's out of the way. I know everybody was on Tony. Finally out of the way. Should have never been there.
Nope.
I think you're on the right track. I don't know if this manager is going to be the guy. I still don't even know his name.
Peter Griffo.
Yeah, Griffo. Yeah, there we go. I know he came from the Royals, but just looking at this team and where it's at now, so many question marks that weren't there a year ago. That you thought weren't there, were going to be there a year ago.
Yep.
I think that this team right now, it would benefit from a swift kick in the pants. You know what I'm saying? A wake-up call. And I think a lot of these things, the number one guy I could think of that would deserve a wake-up call is, oh my gosh, I forget his name.
Yoan Moncada.
Yoan Moncada.
Yep.
It just seems to me that there's baseball, and he goes and he's out there going through the motion, and then there's his other life.
Yeah, his singing life, his merengue and bachata songs.
His singing, his merengue, to travel, do whatever you want. And that can't be. You can't have a player like that who's not 100% focused. You need TA type of focus in Yoan Moncada. And I think, whether it be that big contract that he got right off the bat, you know what I'm saying, as a young man, I don't know what it is, but that has to change because now you have Jose gone. You don't have you took one of the leaders out of the clubhouse. Who's going to emerge as that other leader? We know TA kind of leads leads by example, I guess. I don't know. Leads by his play. There was talks about I don't want to say fractures, but I guess fractures.
There was fractures. Yes, there was.
Yeah, a split clubhouse where there's Jose as a leader, then there's TA as a leader. It's or something to that effect. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I feel like this team needs that wake-up call, whether it be Yoan getting benched, whether it be Yoan getting traded, or somebody else getting traded. I think those moves are on the horizon for the White Sox because you're going to get, you have a new manager. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I don't know if you trust him as much right now, but I don't think he's going to go and allow that to happen. And I don't think the front office is going to play games anymore either because your window was open, 2 years ago, we want to call it, right before they fired Ricky. That window is now slowly getting, closer to being closed. And I'm not saying that it's closed now by any stretch, but you just took 2 years off of these guys' careers. You just wasted 2 years, another 2 opportunities for you to go ahead and be that team that the South Side has been wanting. So I really think that the White Sox, like you said, they have a good pitching staff. I think Clevenger was a good move. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with because Giolito has a lot of question marks too. I think Giolito needs to have somebody spit in his cereal. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to go ahead and kick him in the nuts real quick, piss himself off, and get focused for this year. But I think the White Sox, it's a big question mark for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that take because you look at the White Sox. You said that window was open. Ricky got his boys to play. Ricky's boys play hard. And they had that attitude like, hey, we're coming here, we're going to fuck you up. And even though our guys are young, we're coming through. Our pitching staff ain't that great, but we're coming through. We're coming at you. And they would come from behind and get these games in. That's how they got into the playoffs. Now, Ricky, we knew he wasn't the guy that was going to take them to the promised land. They were kind of like the 2014 Cubs. They were, meddling. These guys are coming together. All right, great. Let's a little bit more marinating. And then 2015, you got to the playoffs, right, with the Cubs. That's what you were looking for. These steps to go up and up and up. And, with Ricky, he had him in the right trajectory. And then you fire him. And then, Rick Hahn gets his his bondage cuffs, and they threw him on the bench. Like, oh, we'll be back, bro. We'll see you later. And they go hire, La Russa. That was a horrible signing. And what that did is it diminished those 2 years of development. You looked at a lot of guys regress during that time because you had a grandpa on the bench and he was letting the kids do whatever the fuck they want. He was buying them McDonald's. He was like, hey, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese today. Well, you didn't do your homework. Well, we're still going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. With Tony, real quick, with Tony, I feel like, and you're absolutely right, 100% correct. He wasn't that Tony La Russa of old.
Correct.
But I think the DUI, I think the media destroying him. I think that riff with TA, where you know what I mean, where there's a lot of social questions about Tony. Mm-hmm. I think all that really castrated Tony La Russa to the point where it was like he was just going to go through those motions. It was a bad sign. Like, regardless of all that, should have never been, because I felt like emotions and ties, like personal ties, led to that with Reinsdorf. And Reinsdorf has done that a lot. Bulls and Sox done that a lot.
And that's why those teams are not doing well. That shows you exactly what you have to get an outside perspective at some point, because someone's not going to tell you, hey, you're beautiful every single day, even though you're ugly as fuck. You need somebody to tell you that ugly truth, like, hey, bro, maybe you should get a haircut, maybe some, shave your shit, maybe another dress code. Fucking just change all that shit up. You've got to make progressions as you go. And what they did is they regressed with Tony La Russa. Now, did they have the right pitching coach? Yeah. But they hired a pitching coach before they even hired a manager. And then, what's his name, went over to Detroit. I'm always bad with names. The manager over at Detroit that came from the Astros.
Oh, Hinch.
Yeah, that was the guy.
AJ Hinch.
Yeah, AJ Hinch. That was the first person I wanted, or else I wanted Ozzie. And people are like, oh, you're going back to your old girlfriend with Ozzie. I'm like, yeah. But here's the thing. With Ozzie, he's been on the sidelines for such a long time. He's got grandkids now. He's a little bit more mellow. He understands that the media is way more sensitive now, that he's going to speak his truth, but he's also going to hold back. He's going to tell the players how the fuck it is. Like, Ricky used to do that with Yohan. Yohan, you ain't hustling the first. Hey, bro, come sit down right here next to me, and you're going to watch this fucking rest of the game. And you're not playing tomorrow because you're not fucking hustling. Hold these players accountable. And that's what, that for the past 2 years, that was not happening. So you've seen, like, the veterans, what's his name? Lance Lynn and Liam Hendricks. And then you had the outfielder as well that we just let go. Those are guys that are veterans, and they're like, what the fuck is going on here? You guys are coming into the fucking dughouse, the clubhouse, and partying, and you're not mad that you just lost, after a game as well? Like, you're not taking this shit seriously. Like, bro, we're trying to win. Look at this stacked ass team, and you guys are underperforming. Like, Larry Garcia should not be playing more than 90 games a year.
No.
He should not be at second base, left field, like everywhere. Like, I just felt like those 2 years, that window is pretty much this thin. It's like almost razor thin at this point, because Cleveland got better. Cleveland was the team that, like, oh, they're rebuilding. They traded away all these players, and they were in the mix. Minnesota's always going to be there. They're those pesky. Minnesota is to us what the St. Louis Cardinals are to you. No matter what, they're going to put a product out there, and they're going to be competitive.
Yeah, no doubt. There's another question I really had, and it goes to, and I really think that where the Sox are headed and why, I forgot your GM's name.
Rick Hahn.
What Rick Hahn, I think, is going to start, and Garfo are going to head to, is this no nonsense. Not necessarily a no nonsense, but like, if you're not putting out, you're not going to be playing.
Yeah, it's going to be an overcorrection, and it's a little bit too late.
Right, a little bit too late. There's also personnel issues that are decisions that were just, asinine. Even with Ricky, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about the left fielder in Eloy.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Eloy should never see the field again. Like, he should never. He doesn't need a glove anymore. Like, in my opinion, Eloy is the perfect DH and the perfect DH for the White Sox. Leave him at the DH spot. And I get it. He's young. A lot of guys, want to play still when they're young. But if you look at Eloy's history with the White Sox, what happens to Eloy?
Injured every year.
injured every year, and it's typically for some dumb shit.
Yeah, jumping into the net, spring training. Let me try to catch this home run ball. Bro, just let that shit go. No one
ball
cares.
was gone.
No
by
one
like
cares.
40 feet.
Yes.
Yeah. In those decisions, like, or the lack of making those tough decisions where it's like, no, Eloy, that's sorry, kid, but you're gonna hit. Like, we want you here because you have an all-world type of bat.
Yep.
You can go ahead and slug with the best of them. You can hit 40, 50 bombs, 100 plus RBI. That's your potential. So why risk his potential in order to serve his own purpose, where it's like you're not serving the purpose of the team out there, and you're not helping the team out there. Running into with Lou Bob, that type of yeah.
You're gonna take out two players on the stupid play, bro. Just listen to the center fielder. He's I don't think he has the baseball IQ when it comes to the field.
Exactly. When it comes to field, he's really goofy. In a sense, and it's a good goof. Like baseball's supposed to be fun. It's a kid's sport, right?
Yeah.
It's a kid's game.
Yeah, the high mob and all that shit.
Yeah, right. But at a certain point, you got to understand that these are professionals and this is a business. Like, it is a game, but it's also a business. And guys are out here busting their ass too. So if you're out here goofy and not, really 100% focused on your craft, yeah, stupid shit's gonna happen like that. Lou Bob was not inept or exempt from guilt too, because there's some things where I'm like, man, Lou, are you in this game? Like, is this a game that you're in?
Yeah,
are you 100%? It's a Yoan issue with Lou Bob as well.
Yeah, like he's running the outfield and he's just like fucking just cruising, like, oh shit, it dropped. Oh well. No, dude, you're the center fielder for a reason. You're the one that doesn't let that ball drop. That is your job. Now, he might be gun shy because he might have, Spider-Man over there on the left side trying to spread out and fucking knock somebody over, and that's probably the problem why he's a little gun shy. Again, I don't know if you can attribute to these guys getting, I don't want to say huge contracts, because they're really not. If you look at the numbers, they're not really a huge contract. They just got rewarded really quickly just to be able to keep them for a long period of time. That was Rick Hahn's master plan, and they got fucked over by the management and all that. But what we're looking at right now is we don't have a left fielder. We don't have a right fielder. We haven't had a right fielder since, like, I don't know, Dan Pasco or somebody. I don't even fucking know. Or Jermaine Dye. Jermaine Dye. Yeah, Jermaine Dye's your last good right fielder. And then you also had you signed free agents. You Nomar Mazara was a fucking hot trash fucking trade. You've got players out of position with Andrew Vaughn. Gromit playing right field, and he did a okay job not knowing the position. But that, and then you have 7 DHs on this team, and you can't play them all at the same time, because Yasmani Grandal, that's another DH. He should not be catching.
Yeah, his catching days are done. I really believe so. And that's another contract that the highest paid contract for the White Sox, and the guy's not out on the field. That's a huge red flag, bro.
Just like John Danks. That's when the first time they paid a pitcher to keep him, and then she shits the bed, right? And that's probably why the White Sox, White Sox are cheap. Well, it's because they get fucking burned. They got snake bitten, and that's gonna happen every team has the same shit. It's just what happened to Trey Turner on the Dodgers. He didn't produce. He was sitting on the bench. And now he's 11 years and I don't know how many million over there in Philadelphia, and watch him turn it around. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work with the chemistry. It doesn't work. Sometimes they got personal shit going on. But what I see from the White Sox is regression. I see there should be some trades mid-season to shake it up, but I don't see this team moving forward. I don't see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's it. It's like I said, with all the question marks, like, the view has been clouded. You know what I'm saying? The path has been clouded to where are they going to... Yeah, you have a pretty decent pitching staff. I would say that's your best area right now. Mm-hmm. But with all these bats that we thought were going to be, murderer's row, we had people saying. Like, you had... What happened? Like, what happened? Real quick, and it would be my last point for the Sox.
Yeah.
We talked about the money and the contracts that some of these younger guys had got. You got to think about, the where they came from, like the social aspect of it. Some of these guys have never seen that amount of money in their life. They've never even been around it. Right. I'm talking about Yoan, Eloy, Lou Bob. Like, these guys come from islands.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They're hitting rocks and bottle caps playing ball like that. Like when you get to that point, it's very easy to become
complacent,
drunk off the money, and complacent and like drunk. Oh, I made it. I've made it. Was all that hard work for the contract, for the paycheck, or do you want more? Was baseball just a courier for you to get this, or do you want more in your baseball career? Do you want to be known as a guy that just stole the money, stole the bag, and got out of town and is living a high life off of a mediocre career, or are you trying to be the best in the game? And that's a question I think that some of these White Sox players, like, I don't doubt it with TA. Like, I don't doubt that drive with TA.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yohan,
TA when
Eloy,
with TA, I think TA's his worst enemy, right? You get into it. Obviously, if you lose a close friend, that affected him for the second half of one of the seasons, and then this year it was the marital issues. He's cheating on his wife. I didn't know any of that. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was
wow. Well, that TA, you got some focusing to do too. Like
exactly.
That's a huge issue.
That is a huge issue, and like he wasn't playing right because he got caught up, and that became a social media issue, and the White Sox try to drown it out as much as possible. But people in Chicago know people in Chicago, and they will spread the word and like, hey man, I just saw TA with so and so, and before a couple hours ago I just saw him with his wife. You will see that, you will hear that. It's a big city, and the big city will talk. So TA's got some growing up to do, and you can see what happened with Jose Abreu. He said the White Sox offered him a contract, the Astros offered him a contract. He didn't specify if the White Sox matched it or not, but what he said is, I'm tired of losing. I don't hate you. I have a Jose Abreu rookie signed jersey. It's in framed. It's got signed, and it's got dirt and a medallion and all this shit. I got pictures with him. I've known this kid since he was on the radar, and as soon as they signed him, I was all in because I was like, fuck it. He's the next Paulie. He's the next first baseman. Chicago is known for their first baseman. I was all in. Am I mad that he left? Yes. I wish he would have retired the White Sox, but at the same time, it's a business, right? And this guy is a winner and wants to win. If I keep hitting 300 every year and putting up 25 home runs and no one else is fucking doing their job, because he was the only one after every game left on the bench looking at the scoreboard pissed off. Where is the drive from the rest of the players?
Yeah. No, that's it. You said it perfectly, bro.
All right, bro. Let's move over to the north side of town with the Cubs, man. Tell me what's going on with the Cubbies, man.
To be honest with you, I wasn't as worried about the Cubs at the end of this year as I was at the end of last season.
Okay.
At the end of last season was kind of similar, like, what the hell are we gonna do? Like, where is Jed taking us? And I still have a lot of questions surrounding Jed and some of the decisions. I'm not gonna go into like the past as much, but like seeing how they're playing the younger guys. Mm-hmm. They're really trying to groom the younger players and really, weed out the guys that aren't going to be a part. Yep. Like Schwindel, gone. Yep. You can't produce, you're gone. Yeah. Wisdom, I think was on that. It was on that same, block, but he started producing.
Yeah, but he was hurt a lot though.
He did get hurt a lot, but I think I really believe that he was he was a project. He was
reclamation project.
Reclamation project. Thank you. He went ahead and they went ahead and took a shot on him. Same with Schwindel. One worked, one didn't.
That's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. But I think the decision to go ahead and bring up a guy like Morel, to bring up Vasquez, his buddy in right field, bring up these younger guys, give them a shot. We still have to see about this catcher position. Like, that's one of the big things that I'll talk about in a second. But I think this youth movement for the Cubs under David Ross, I think it's gonna work out. I really think that they're on the right path. You have a veteran pitcher in Hendricks. I don't know what's gonna happen with
it's his last year. It's his last year. The contract.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but you have an opportunity to build what the Cardinals are building, right? Build from the farm system. Have a coach that's a manager that's on the same, as far as I know, is on the same plane as a GM. I really think that the Cubs they're not going to go ahead and win 90 games next year.
No.
But they're going to be that pesky team where it's like you start to see, especially around midseason, maybe some more guys come up. You start to see the outline of what they're going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody else gets moved around. I'm not sure. But for me, I'm more open to seeing the Cubs rebuild than I'm more confident than I was last season with the Cubs, right? It just seems like there's a plan now. Get younger, and then once you get younger and these guys start to perform, or if these guys perform, then you start taking shots at free agents. I know I know they have a big opportunity now this offseason with the Correa, with the Bogarts, with the Turner. For me, I would rather go with the Bogarts. I just think he's very consistent in what he does. I like Trey Turner's speed, and I love Correa just because he's a generational type player. But it's hard for me to see them going out and blowing a bunch of money like right now. I don't know what they're going to do. They've been very quiet as of late, you know what I'm saying? So I really think that the Cubs are on the right path, but it's going to take some time. You're going to have to let the kids grow.
Yeah, I agree with the approach of what they're doing. It's funny because I feel like the dynamic is flipped, where you had the remnants of the 16 Cubs and that they weren't producing. You know, they would make the playoffs, but they weren't getting over that hump again. And the White Sox were exciting. They were young. They're up and coming. Look at all this talent that's coming up, and look at now they're signing veterans. And you know, you're just like, oh, well, the window's open. They're gonna do something good. They're gonna be world beaters. And now we don't see that with the White Sox. Now we're like, okay, the Cubs. You've seen all this young talent produce at the end of the season, especially the pitching staff that came up and dominated. They had one of the best ERAs in the second half. You had Christopher Morel, great job. You had Ian Happ. Didn't he win a Gold Glove? Come on, let's give them these guys his flowers. Suzuki, I don't think he's there yet. I think that was that adjustment year, but I think he will be okay as long as you have a good lineup. He'll be protected. Nico Horner, he might be the odd man out if they sign that shortstop, right? You can maybe platoon him. He maybe can go in the outfield, maybe play second base.
I think he goes to second. I think they'll leave it because he's shown some decent range at short. Yeah, but I think he's better off at playing second base. And Nico Horner's a guy that his hitting really came out because I think his hitting was the biggest question mark. Yeah, it was. Is he going to take that next step at the plate? And he did. He really did. Nico was coming up with big hits. Almost every week it seemed like the huge hit to bring in 2 runs, huge hit to take the lead, tie the game. I like Nico. I like the like I said, I like this core. I like the youth movement. Seiya, like I agree with you there. I think this was an adjustment year. But when you hear his teammates, when you hear the manager talk about, Seiya's involved. Like Seiya's not
shy about.
He's not shy. He's not sulking. He knows he wants to be better. He knows he can be better. He's a guy that's motivated, right? Like he wants to prove his worth to this team. And I believe he's really happy here with the Chicago Cubs. Yeah. So, looking at how they go forward, whether it be, Happ in left, Morel in center, Seiya in right, and then, you got Nico at short, you got to figure out what you're going to do at first. You got to figure out what you're going to do at short. At third base, I think is still P. Wizzy. The biggest hole to fill is that catcher spot. I know they got, I think Yan Gomes is still on the team. Yep. But losing Willie, it's an upsetting point. It really gets me pissed off, talking about losing Wilson Contreras, because Wilson Contreras, to me, his energy, his passion, that's a guy that I want leading my team. Right. And I don't know if there was issues behind the scenes. I really don't see there being any, maybe because of the contract. I just, losing a guy like him, it hurts. It really hurts. I don't know who the outright leader of the team is. Now it kind of falls to Happ, Horner maybe. But even Hendricks is a more quieter, lead by example type of guy. You need a guy that's active, that's vocal, that shows that type of passion that embodies the team, right? You need somebody that like that. And I don't know I don't know who's going to step up to the plate, or if they're going to bring in a guy that can do that. I don't know where that guy is.
Yeah, you really don't have like a clear picture of who the leader is in the clubhouse anymore. You do have a lot of guys that are, have been around. You got Kyle Hendricks, obviously still hanging out from the 2016 team. Justin Steele, Keegan Thompson, Nelson Vasquez, PJ Higgins. You got Rowan Wick. Some of these guys I don't even know who they are. I know you got Mark Leiter Jr., Albert Alizé. I mean, you got some names of kids who are coming up, and you're like, okay. I mean, you also have Cody Hoyer, who came from the White Sox, had that surgery right away, but that's going to be one of your pitching studs. I'm going to tell you right now, he was a stud for us, but that doesn't always translate when he switched teams, right? We've known that with Nicky Two Strikes, who hasn't been able to stay on the field. This guy was, killing getting on base for the White Sox. And you're like, yeah, we'll take him off here for, make that trade. And he really hasn't produced for you guys. So you're going to be filling some holes, and catcher is your should be your number one priority, along with the shortstop. Those are the two things that you really need, and then everything else you can fill around, because you still have time. The window's not open yet, so you can go through the draft and make some trades here and there, and fill these needs as you keep going and keep growing. You're gonna be one of those teams that was a spoiler, just like you did at the end of the season. You're gonna be that spoiling team that comes in and takes 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals or from the Dodgers, and then they're like, what the hell just happened? These are kids. Who the hell are these guys? And that's what's gonna happen with the Cubs. I really think that they're on the right track, especially because they usually bought pitching and groomed hitting, and now they're grooming their pitchers and their hitters, and it's nice to see that they have a well-rounded, just like you said, like St. Louis. Every year they're producing guys. Whoever next man up, boom, and then you're like, oh my God, where did this guy come from? And now he's a star, and that's what you want out of your organization, is that you build from the bottom and continue to do that. Not all of us are the Yankees or the Dodgers. Or even now like San Diego or Philadelphia, or that are gonna spend the $400 million for one player. That's not us. Even though we're the second, third biggest market for baseball, we still don't do that. We don't do it on either side of town, especially on the south side. We're definitely not going to do that. We're not going to be in the Aaron Judge sweepstakes. That's not us. No. Because first of all, if you do that, then you can't fill the rest of the team.
Yeah, and that kind of irked me too, like those rumors, like, because I know the Cubs kind of floated out rumors, Sox floated out rumors. I'm like, that's a move a team that's ready makes.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? That's a move that a team that's ready makes. And the Sox and the Cubs, like the Sox, if they made the move last year, I'd have been like, oh my God.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, here they come.
Yep.
But making the move this year, it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Cubs, no. For the Cubs, the same thing. It just doesn't make any sense. You're getting younger. You want, like I said, if they make a move on one of these shortstops, okay, cool, I get it. Now you've added somebody, you've added a name. Next year, you could add a couple more names, and then maybe be really ready to go ahead and make some noise in the league. But right now, it just to go ahead and give all that money to a guy like Aaron Judge, who deserves it. Like, to trust me, he's the guy that deserves it. Took a shot at himself and deserves it. Doesn't make sense here for Chicago on either side.
All right, give me one name before we start closing out. Give me one name that's a free agent that you want on your team, on the Cubs.
Xander Bogaerts. I would like, if we're going to start there, I would go with Xander Bogaerts. I just, his consistency, you know what I mean? He's on the field all the time. He plays his bat. Obviously, he has the potential to get even better there. And his glove, he's a solid shortstop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really think that the Cubs would benefit from that. Not saying that Nico's a dog or anything, but Xander Bogaerts and Nico Horner. Nico's a hard worker. Xander has an immense amount of talent.
I agree with you.
I think that could be a good marriage.
I agree with you. And Xander Bogaerts was part of the original Chris Sale trade, and Boston shut that down real quick. They're like, nope, you can have Yohan though. Can you imagine if we would have had Bogaerts instead of Yohan? That left side would be on. There was nothing getting past that left side. If you
Tia would go to second.
TA, that's fine.
TA goes to second. You'd have a great middle infield.
Again, yeah, that'd be great. So Xander Bogaerts, 15 homers last year, 73 RBIs, 307 average. He got the qualifying offer extended. He's like, nah, I'm going to go free agency. So I agree, Xander Bogaerts. Also, I think you guys are the dark horse for Dansby Swanson, which is, I've seen this kid play in Atlanta, and I really love him. And I think he would be an awesome addition to the Cubs as well. 25 homers, 96 RBI, 277 average. either one of those two guys, you put them on that, and at shortstop and plug them in there, and now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah, no doubt. Dansby's a guy whose bat kind of came around like recently. Like at first it was kind of just I felt like, is this guy just going to be a
flash and pan?
Yeah, flash in the pan, or just the glove. You know what I mean? A real good glove man. But he's 25 home runs, 270. That's good numbers. I really think that you can't go wrong with either one. Me, like I said, preference-wise, Bogarts. But Dansby, Swanson, if they went ahead and got a guy like that, I wouldn't be too upset.
Yeah, for the White Sox, for me, it's going to be Brandon Nimmo, the center fielder from the New York Mets. 16 homers, 64 RBIs, 274. A guy who's great in the outfield, and he's putting up numbers. Also, he's going to be moving to one of the corners, which is fine. Or he can be center field and move Lubob to one of the corners. I don't care. These two guys out in the outfield, nothing's dropping. Definitely would be something that I would be focusing on, along with second base and catcher. But right now, you're gonna get what you can get, and I think Brandon Nimmo's a name that the White Sox can get.
Yeah, Brandon. I mean, I don't know much about Brandon Nimmo, but if it helps your defense in the outfield and he's consistent at the plate, you can't really ask for much more. Like I said, you need to solidify one of those corner spots, right? Whether it be right field or left field. Yep. I think you would keep, in my opinion, keep Lubob in center, and you put a Nimmo in right and see how that works. He's played right for the Mets, so yep. I think it's a perfect shoe-in for the White Sox if they went and got Nimmo.
I love it. Can't wait to hear more news from the Hot Stove. Just a quick note before we get out of there. Former Cub and crime aficionado, the crime dog, Fred McGriff, is going to Cooperstown via the Contemporary Baseball Era Players Committee. I've always loved watching him play in Atlanta with David Justice, Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. Well-deserved. He played on a bunch of teams, Toronto, Cubs. So well-deserved for him.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, fans, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, this is comedian Ken Garr, and I was just a guest on the True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with Big Earl and G-Money and a bunch of weirdos. So tune in!
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. In for E-Rock is Ivan Vargas, filling the big shoes. And we're going to continue going around the loop, and we're going to stop over on the Madhouse on Madison with the Chicago Blackhawks.
But hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
All right. I mean, there's nothing much to get excited about with the Blackhawks, man. What can you tell us about the Blackhawks?
and honestly, it's for I speak for both teams at the United States. It's more like the sad house on Madison, these days. But with the Blackhawks, man, just still rebuilding. Still, what do you have to look for? You got the captain, you got Kane. That's pretty much it. A very young team, still kind of trying to find their way. I know they had a lot of issues last season, especially with the scandal that broke out. A lot of turnover, a lot of changing parts. I don't know where they're going to go. That's a team in Chicago that, talk about a fall from grace. They've really fallen hard. I don't know how they rebuild this. I would say continue to draft smartly. Now that you have, you got a new GM, you got a new coach. Let's see what a couple of years does. And I know Hawks fans don't want to hear that, but I think that's what it's going to take for you to begin to see where the Hawks are going. Because right now it's just not good.
It's definitely not good, and the prices are still not good. I don't understand how the prices are still so high with a team that's so garbage. 7 wins and 13 losses. They're getting blown out. And when they're playing these teams, I mean, sometimes they do score 4 or 5 goals, but they're still losing because they don't have defense. They're on like their 17th goalie. You know, everybody keeps getting hurt. I was at the game a couple weeks ago, and for the military appreciation night, and I picked up a puck. You know, I'm a supporter in military and so forth, and I picked up a Philip Bruce puck. Yeah, I didn't know who that guy was.
Yeah, I don't know who Philip Ruse is.
Yeah, I mean, his mama knows him. But but what I'm going to say is just, as soon as I picked up the puck, because it was one of those mystery pucks, you don't know who you're going to get till you open the package. I walked back to the suite, and he's in a penalty box. I'm like, dude, what happened? They're like, yeah, Luz tripped somebody. He was, so he got hit in the back of the head, and he went over and tripped him, and they threw him in the penalty box. I'm like, kind of like that player. Okay, let's keep that guy.
Show some guts.
Yeah, show some guts. I mean, Chicago, anybody in Chicago who plays for one of our Chicago teams, if you show grit, you show guts, and you show that you're going to give it your 120% every night, you're going to be loved by the Chicago fans. And right now, the Blackhawks really need some players that the Chicago fans can identify with, because the doom that's pending is these trades. Whatever you're going to get for Kane, whatever you're going to get for Toews. And at this point, you have to do that because we're a losing organization right now, and we need to rebuild. And one thing the Blackhawks have done very well is drafting. Their trades have been shit. They trade away really good players, Panarin and some other ones. But drafting is what we done well. And so that's what you have to look forward to. So I'm waiting for these prices to go down, and I'm going to enjoy some hockey as close as I can to the ice. And I think the sport is still a fun sport to watch, whether they suck or not. But it's really a sad situation with everything that's happened. The fall from grace, being a prime organization that was in the limelight, now to being a laughingstock. Yeah,
and like you had mentioned, that hammer that's going to fall whether or not Kane or Toews are gone at the trade deadline. And I think it's going to be the key to where the Blackhawks are headed. If they want to hold on to them, okay, fine. How are you going to put people around them? Because we know that they're good, but they're getting up there in age. How are you going to put people around them? Who are you going to put around them? I think that if there's a team calling and wants to give up a ton of picks, maybe some young players as well. I'm talking about top tier players.
Yeah.
To get a Kane, to get a Toews for the playoff push. Yeah, I think you have to pull that trigger, because you got to reload more than just one or two positions at a time. You got to find a netminder. You got to find some defenders. You're gonna, like I said, you have a new coach, so you're gonna have to, with all that turnaround, you're gonna have to find more talent out there to do it. And if that means giving up on, it's gonna hurt Hawks fans to see it if they do it. If it means giving up on Kane and Toews for the betterment of the organization, then that's what you have to do. Definitely. Like you said, they're not a winning team right now. They haven't been a winning team in quite a few years now. I think it's time to start looking to new horizons, and maybe, expecting this more than, hoping it doesn't happen. Just accept it and move forward, because I enjoyed it, man. When the Hawks were on fire, and like, we never experienced that. Well, maybe in the 90s, because I was born in 89, so I'm a little younger. But maybe, in the 90s when they were good and went to a Stanley Cup, lost, obviously. Maybe that was like around that time people were excited about it. But from the mid 90s up until the point where they went ahead, nobody gave a damn about the Blackhawks.
Nobody.
And that's honest to God, honest truth. But when they came on the scene, drafting Toews, drafting Kane, signing Hossa, and then putting together the team that they had, everybody fell in love with him. Yeah. Everybody fell in love with him. People who didn't even give a shit about hockey fell in love with the Blackhawks because of how they played, because of the team that they had, the guys that they had there, the coach, everything. Like, you fell in love with them, and they were very easy to love. You could do that. Like, I think it's time to do that again. Instead of holding on to, remnants of the past, appreciate them, move forward, and find the next line of great Hawks players, because right now we're really just holding on to two.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I am one of those players. I knew about hockey, I knew about the Blackhawks, but I was like, okay, well, Chelios is gone, and and whoever else was on that team, and I'm like, I'll go to a game. It's free, right? Yeah, I'll go. But when they started winning in 2008, 2009, you're like, okay, wow, all right. Then bringing up the young guys, I'm like, oh, okay, now we got some gas over here. Let's go. And they started winning. And after the first cup, I was like, oh, now I'm watching every single Hawks game. I knew every single line. I'm like, okay, here comes the second line. Boom, here comes. This is what they're gonna do. This is the plays they're gonna run. And even when they were down 2-3 goals, you're like, Hawks got this. I ain't worried. They're going to come back in the last second and win anyways, because that's what we got used to. The talent level that we had was ridiculous. So, yeah, it is time to turn the page, and it's time to move forward and let those guys go win a championship somewhere else. Hey, the Seattle's a great team. Golden Knights are a great team. The Kings, you got the Stars, the Jets, the Wild. Those guys are going to need somebody to put them over for that playoff run. So, guess what? Pony up.
Yeah.
Time to turn the page.
And it will. And they, I really believe for the talent level of a Kane, the talent level of a Toews, you're gonna pay the prime real estate. And Kane is the biggest one, right? Kane's the big fish because he could put the puck in the back of the net.
Yep.
And he could do just wondrous things on the ice. It either one, like maybe even if it was one, I think you have to make a move.
It's got to be done. All right, let's move over to the other side of the madhouse on Madison, or the sad house, I would like to call it right now. The Chicago Bulls, man, they're having trouble, man. Can you break this down and tell us what's going on? Because I don't know what the hell's going on with the Bulls. Is it the coaches? Is it the players? Is it the bench? What's going on, man?
To be honest, I don't know. I think the lack of shooting definitely hurts. You're expecting, Pat Williams to go ahead and take another step. I still think there's time for that, but the lack of shooting is clear, and you still got inconsistencies with Vucevic. Zach is Zach. We know who he is as a player, but it's just you're looking for answers that aren't there on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're very streaky with their shooting. It comes down to shooting. Like, you gotta have guys that can hit the three in today's NBA, and I just think that they're too inconsistent of a team shooting wise to keep up with some of these teams in the NBA. And right now, defensively, I feel like they're having issues as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some flaws in the defense, but it comes down to shooting for me. You gotta be able to shoot the three. You gotta be able to keep up with some of these better teams in the league if you want to make the playoffs this year. The Lakers are around the same, have the same type of issues. They got different issues, but the Lakers have the same type of record as the Bulls. Right now, I believe that the Lakers could still make a push. Well, they have one player that can help them make a push, but I still think that they could make a push with the Bulls. I'm like, where are you going to get the shooting from?
Yeah.
Who are you going to find? Like, who's going to all of a sudden become red hot? Kobe White? He's real streaky. Like, who's going to come off the bench? And is Dragic going to be that guy? I know we're hurting without Lonzo, but even with Lonzo, it's like he's a good shooter, three-point shooter, but he's not going to solve the issues for you. It's an all-around team issue with shooting. And yeah, I'm right there with it.
Yeah, I think it starts with Donovan, right? Donovan's implementing this team first kind of thing, like, oh, let's pass the ball, let's move the ball, find the open man, take a good smart shot. That's what he wants. You don't have that with Zach. Zach is like, if I'm hot, I'm taking over the game and I'm playing ISO ball the entire time. We've seen that from Zach for many years. We know what he can do when he's hot. Like the other night when he put up 40. I mean, he put up a 40 piece. And they lost, and then he walks off the court, doesn't even shake his own players' hands, his teammates' hands, and walks straight out to the back. I get it, you're pissed, bro, but be a professional. Be a professional. Yeah. Your teammates are there for you. They're cheering you on while you're doing it, and you're being a dick. Also on the court, like there's been times where I'm watching, like they don't pass the Vooch. Vooch is wide open. They're like, nope. There's some issues. There's some issues in there.
Yeah, the trust issues. Like who can you trust to go ahead and act? Vooch. How many times have we seen him wide open? Vooch, shoot the ball. He shoots the ball, can't hit the shot. No. You know what I'm saying? There's too many times. So, yeah, I would say trust issues could be, a big issue for the Chicago Bulls team. I just don't think that they know who the alpha is.
Yes.
I don't think they know who the alpha is, whether it be DeMar or whether it be Zach. I don't know who's leading that team. I thought it was going to be Zach. I thought Zach was going to be a little bit more mature about it, but I just don't know. I don't know whether it's DeMar or Zach's team. Whose team is it? It seems to me like there's trust issues there, and there's still a little bit of immaturity in that locker room.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what you're seeing right now is either Zach or DeRozan being the alpha game bad game, right? It's like, all right, whoever's hot is going to be the alpha, and then I'm just going to stand back and I'm going to stand here and not be an integral part of the offense. So what you're seeing, especially with DeMar or Zach, when they have the ball, the rest of the guys are stagnant. They're just staring. They're not cutting. They're not making the good picks and pick and rolls. Like, you see DeMar taking these ridiculous shots, and you're like, oh, he went 7 for 21. Well, he went for 7 for 21 because he's forcing up shots because no one else is moving around to be open. Again, Kobe's coming off the injury. He's been okay. Caruso's playing his ass off on defense, so that's what you got him for. You didn't get him for his offense. The other day, I think he had 0 points and 4 assists or something like that. You got Vooch, who anytime he plays a real big, he doesn't show up. He'll have his 10, 12 points, because he gets fouled and he goes to the free throw line, but he's not getting no more than 6 rebounds against a big. Dude, you're 7'2", bro. You can go and get some rebounds. Patrick Williams, same thing. It's streaky. Is he going to be? Is this going to be a game where he takes a step forward? The other day he got it really high and got a rebound, and Stacey called it a man rebound. I don't remember Stacey calling him a man in a long time. And what you're having is, okay, he had 12, 14 points, whatever it was. But again, you had under 10 rebounds. These guys are not rebounding. They're not playing team basketball. Everyone should have a role. And I think with Donovan, he's trying to implement this thing, but the team isn't there yet. And if you want to talk about the bench, the lack of a bench, it's really hurting the team because usually you have pretty good shooters coming off the bench, and we don't have that. Ayo's a point guard. He's not putting up any points. This guy, the old man, coming up, he's streaky too. Like sometimes you have 10 points, in one quarter. Yeah, Dragic, and then sometimes he's not. He's coming off playing in the tournament, and he's in midseason form. He's got his wind under him, but he's an old man. He's 36, 37, 38. Like he's not going to be the guy that can show up for you every night. And then there's a lot of guys on the bench that are not getting any playing time for whatever reason. But I just don't see the Bulls doing anything. And it might be time to shake things up. There's rumors that the Lakers want DeRozan and Vooch for some type of package for expiring contracts and some picks. Then you got there's a trade going out there for rumor out there that the Knicks are interested in Zach.
And that's the thing. It's like if it's not gonna work, it's best to do it now than to go ahead and try to force it. Yeah. Because I think Billy Donovan's staying as the head coach. I think they're going to keep Billy. Yeah. Billy's going to be here for a while. So you have a guy like Ayo. You'll have a guy like Lonzo. You'll have younger guys who you could mold to who you want to be, right? Like they could become the embodiment of what you want as a head coach on this team. The older guys, Vooch, DeMar, Zach, it's harder for them to go ahead and buy in, especially if they're riffing with each other, especially if one guy, or especially if you don't know who's the top dog or nobody wants to take over the team. Inconsistencies with Vooch. I think it's best if you could find a package to where you're getting, a lot back for them. Like you said, expiring contracts, so you could go ahead and restock the cap. I think you're going to have to make a move like that because it's getting to the point, like we're almost at Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We're almost at Christmas time, and once you get into the new year, you pretty much know who you are.
Yep.
You pretty much know who you are after Christmas and into the new year, into January. So decisions are going to have to be made. The Knicks, I know the Knicks are very hungry. I know the Knicks want to win playoff games. I know the Knicks want to get back to the NBA Finals. If they want to overpay for Zach, or take the contract, give us some picks, give us maybe a younger guy.
I think they were mentioning Obi Toppin.
I would take an Obi Toppin
and some picks.
I would take some picks. if you want Zach, a big time scorer, a guy who can score and shoot from the outside and slash. Yeah, I want Obi Toppin and some picks because you're there. They believe that their window is now. And if the Bulls decide to go another route, the best thing you could do is go ahead and expose or exploit, some of these teams are going to be a little bit desperate at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think for the Bulls, it's the same story of being stuck in the middle. We have a good team, and then you're stuck as a 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed. Once you start playing these 1 and 2 seeds, the difference in quality of players and all stars, that the cream rises to the top. You see that every year with Boston. You're like, oh, Boston, they're a 3 seed. Yeah, they're a 3 seed. They'll be a 2 seed. They'll be a 1 seed. They've got some players. They have a pretty good bench. You got Miami, same thing. You got really good superstars over there and a good bench. You're seeing these players. I mean, even Brooklyn has a decent team. It's just they're fucking all head cases. That's the problem over there. But they can put up numbers. As much as we're talking about the Lakers, they got 3 Hall of Famers on there. They look at their numbers. It's at the Hall of Fame resume. The thing is that you have too many egos in there, and they don't know how to work together. And that's always been the thing with Russ. And then you got Anthony Davis, who's made out of glass. So that's the way it is with the Bulls. But being stuck in the middle is not where you want to be in any one of our, especially for Chicago. We want to be at the top, and we got to push for it. And you got to make some hard decisions. And like you said earlier in the show, we're talking about a Reinsdorf run team. What is the direction? What's the clear direction? What we do know is that Donovan is going to be here for a long time. He re-signed the contract. Obviously, someone can get fired, but what it looks like is he's going to be here for a long time. Pat Will's probably going to be here for a long time. Ayo's going to be here for a long time. Who is the remaining cast that's going to be here? I don't think Lonzo will be here because he hasn't played for almost 2 years. I think they'll get rid of him as soon as they can if they're not going to be competing this year. So he'll be some trade bait. But again, the Bulls, meddling with the middle of the pack, it's not going to go well for the rest of the season.
No, I agree. Like I said, it's better to rip the Band-Aid off sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's talk about your bread and butter, sir. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. Holy fuck, man, we had that game. But at the same time, I didn't want them to win, but I did want a competitive game, and that's exactly what we got.
Well, you wanted you're a draft guy. You're a draft
guy.
At
this point, what we're doing, right? We have all this cap room. We got 130 something plus million for next year, and what you want to do is bank on the biggest bang for the buck. So for the number 2 pick, because I don't see Houston winning any more games, we'll be the number 2 pick. You can get a great package because these are a couple teams that are looking for quarterbacks. San Francisco just lost 2 quarterbacks for the rest of the year. You have a lot of the certainty over there in New York with Mike White and Sunshine or whatever his name is over there, the MILF raper, whatever his name is. So
it was consensual. He didn't rape her. It was consensual. But yeah, the MILF hunter. The MILF hunter.
Yeah. I mean, you got a lot of teams that are looking for quarterback. I mean, Russ is a hot garbage in Denver. Seattle's going to be looking for a quarterback too. I don't think they're going to keep that. What's his name? Brissett is in Cleveland. We're talking about
Cleveland,
yeah, the other guy up in Seattle. There's Texas doesn't. have
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yeah. Texas doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be chomping at the bit to get that second pick, and you're looking at getting a good package for him. So trade down, get an extra 4 picks, and stack up as much great talent as you can to put around Justin Fields and on the defense. We had a young defense that played yesterday. They just ran out of gas. The defense did great yesterday. It just ran out of gas. Fields did what he could do with some shoulder pain and no receivers. And obviously the offensive line is more game plan to provide some passing coverage and not really some running coverage because I don't see Montgomery hitting any holes.
Well, I'll say this. Like, I am expecting them to compete. Like, I still expect them to compete. They have a lot of injuries. A lot of places where there's just not enough talent, just not enough talent. I wanted them to win that game. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather them win that game than any other game, even though it's like even though it's like, it's not the Super Bowl, but it's our Super Bowl.
It's
but
our Super Bowl,
you're just you're sick of losing to the Packers. You're sick of losing, period.
Yeah.
But I can see what you're saying. I could agree that having that pick could be the difference in what the Bears need. It could be the difference for what the Bears need, right? You mentioned multiple picks. I think you get multiple first-round picks.
Yes.
On top of it's at the least for a number 2. You got Bryce Hall. You have who's the other guy from Ohio State? Oh my God, his name's forgetting me. But you have quarterbacks out there and teams that are going to need quarterbacks that are going to be desperate to make that move.
Yeah, they're going to pull Ryan Pace.
Yeah, they're pull Ryan Pace trading for Mitch. I mean, not saying that any of these quarterbacks will be a Mitch Trubisky, but you'll get that type of desperation from some of these teams that need a quarterback now. I don't think the Bears talent. I don't think that they're tanking. I really don't. I think what you've heard from Ryan Pace, Ryan Poles, and Matt Eberflus, I think their message has been consistent. I really do. I think the winning, right, hasn't been there, but I think the culture has changed, and I think that what's hindering them is just clearly a lack of talent. Yeah. You found your quarterback. Like the biggest question has been answered, right? You found your quarterback of the future, Justin Fields. There's still haters out there that people wanted to blame that game yesterday on Justin Fields.
No.
I'm like, but what about the pass rush that wasn't there?
Yeah.
What about EQ? Right. What about EQ not running his route all the way through? But there's and not saying that Justin's exempt from any criticism, but there's no way that you could sit and look at this roster and look at the games that we played and say, hey, you know what? If we took Justin Fields out, we'd have won 3 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Justin Fields isn't on the football field and we're rolling with Andy Dalton or we're rolling with
Nathan Peterman.
Nathan Peterman. There's no way in hell that we're going to win 3 games. It's just not. It's just not.
If you look at Justin's numbers yesterday, 20 for 25, that's a great percentage. 254 yards, that's really good. The 2 interceptions, both of them were not his fault. Did he have a passing touchdown? No, I'm fine with that. He had a rushing touchdown. He does spread the field, and he keeps everybody else honest. The only thing is that he, like you said, he has no weapons. St. Brown is garbage, complete garbage. Yeah. Cole Kmet is probably the most consistent person they have on there. N'Keal Harry playing limited snaps. Claypool playing limited snaps right now. Pettis, I don't trust him. And then Montgomery, he's out there blocking. So he doesn't really have a lot to pass to, and everything's covered all the time. And that's why you see the kid running for his life. But again, with a bum shoulder, the last thing you want to do is have him slide and some defensive lineman lands on him or a linebacker, and now you just pop the shoulder back out, and now you don't know how long he's going to be out. So I didn't want him playing this game. I said that last week, but he showed out. He showed courage. He showed he's a leader. He's like, I'm going to be out there for the rest of my team. I know everyone's hurt. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to play. And he gave a great performance. They lost at the end. The defense is not exactly what we have. Jack Sanborn is killing it out there. That kid is running left and right. He looks like a young.
He's the best
Urlacher.
thing on the defense.
Yeah, he looks like a young Urlacher, even though he doesn't have that talent level. But he's playing his ass off. We got Jalen Jones doing all right. Nicholas Morrow was pretty good. Houston Carlson. I mean, you had a bunch of players that came out. Jalen Johnson did okay. But these are all young guys, and they're playing together for the first time. And what you're seeing is that the defense talent is not there. We know that. And when you give Aaron Rodgers any time, like 4 minutes to go down the field, of course he's going to be able to do that. He's a surgeon. He's going to pick everybody apart, especially a young defense. And that's exactly what happened. The Bears played 3 really good quarters, and then the 4th quarter they just ran out of gas.
Yeah, they got to finish. That's a part of it. They have to finish. They have to. And like I said, I don't think that anybody out there is trying to tank. I really think that they're trying to fight. It's just they're handicapped right now.
Yeah.
Defensive wise, like I said, you need talent. You need talent on the offensive line, the defensive line, as well as the offensive line. The offensive line is something that we've seen Justin scramble. We've seen these just amazing runs. Justin's elite level talent, right? If you could get him a pocket, right? If you could get him protected, he could show you that he's an elite level, or he can have the potential to be an elite level pocket passer as well. That's what they did at Ohio State.
Yeah, he was a good pocket passer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all they did at Ohio State. He was never really on the run.
No.
You know, he's got over 800 yards this year in rushing. His most was 400 in his second year, or it would have been his first year at Ohio State, I believe. Well, he had over 400 yards rushing. So it would have been his second college year, sophomore year. The guy, just get him the talent around him and then see his full potential. You're asking him to go ahead and be Superman out there, and he's doing his damn best to do that. Coaching matters, talent matters as well. There needs to be a marriage, because I do believe that there's times where Getsy gets too conservative.
Oh my God! After the Henry pass, what is his N'Keal Harry pass?
Right.
56 yards, whatever, and then they run it 3 times. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Right. I don't see why. I don't see why he did that, but like I said, you got a first-time head coach, you got a second-year quarterback, you got a first-time, defensive coordinator, and a first-time offensive coordinator.
Yep.
There's gonna be growing pains.
Yep.
But what I would pay attention to is how Justin speaks and what he says about his coaches. He has a good relationship with Getsy. Like that, I feel like that relationship can continue to grow, but there's gonna be growing pains, right? There's gonna be those times where you're like, what the fuck is going on? Why'd you do, Justin? Why didn't you see Montgomery in the flat? Or, why didn't you see the crossing route with Mooney and you went deep? Why didn't you hit Mooney underneath where you could have picked up some yards? Why'd you be too, you got a little too aggressive doing the double coverage? There's gonna be those times, you know what I mean? But for me, the biggest question was that quarterback, and Justin's the guy. People want to hate on him. Fine, hate on him. But when you put the talent around him and he starts to blossom even more, don't come backpedaling.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And say, oh, you know what? I was wrong about you. Well, yeah, no shit you were wrong about, Justin. You didn't see the writing on the wall. The team is lacking talent. I think they have the right guys in the position, like in the head coaching spot, in the quarterback spot. Getsy's still a question mark, but as long as that relationship with Justin continues to grow, I think that they'll continue to really groom this offense to what Justin does well.
Yep.
You got to be able to put the talent around them. This is going to be the biggest offseason in Chicago Bears history to this point, in my opinion. There can't be a miss. There can't be a miss. They have a lot of questions that they have to answer. I don't know if they're going to answer all of them in one offseason, but they can answer a good amount to where you could see production, to where they go from and I think they're going to lose out. Like, don't get me wrong. I think they're going to continue to fight, but I don't think they're winning any of these games coming up. You see a 3-win team move to an 8-9-win team.
Yeah.
Maybe just miss the playoffs, but that team's coming next year because they got, they have cap room, still. They got the full slate of draft picks, and they have talent now around Justin Fields. I think that's going to be the next one. I think this team is about 2 years away from really being contenders in the NFL.
Yeah, I completely agree. What it reminds me of is the Buffalo Bills. They started drafting very well, and they started putting pieces around, and then they got their quarterback, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna make a splash and trade for is it Diggs, right? Diggs is over there. And yes, they traded, and Jefferson was the pick that ended over Minnesota, but they literally got the same level of wide receiver for each other, so it worked out for both teams. And you got somebody who could spread the field, and people have to plan against having that superstar wide receiver. That's what you need. You got people are shitting on Fields. Fields had his whole offensive line were first-round draft picks. He had NFL talent as his offensive line. That's why he did so well, and he stayed in the pocket and was clean. If you do that, like for Patrick Mahomes, obviously you see what Patrick Mahomes can do. For Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers had a great line, no one touched him, and he was throwing deep to everybody. He also had young wide receivers that he made. Yeah. That's the thing, is the next progression for Justin Fields is going to be, can you throw these guys open?
That's huge, and that's a huge question. And you're absolutely right. Can you start to realize where? Oh, I can hit him there. I need to be able to throw him. I need to be able to throw the ball 2 to 3 yards in front of him.
Yes.
In order for him to go ahead and catch up to. I think, like I said, the lack of talent up front, or just the amount of hits that he's taken, causes him to be a little bit gun shy. But for me, you put the hogs in front of him that can block.
Oh yeah.
And I think you're going to see the best of Justin Fields. Just thinking about where they're going to go in this draft. Like I said, for me, I'm with you. If you have a king's ransom if you stay at number 2 and you have a king's ransom, you got to pull the trigger. I don't think you could just go ahead and focus in on one player in that first round. If somebody's able and willing to go ahead and give you multiple picks, you need a bunch of players. Not saying you're going to hit on all of them, or that all of them are going to be starters, but maybe you get a guy that's, that guy's a solid backup.
Exactly.
And he stays on the team for 6 years.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
You got to restock the shelves, and also add depth. Right. You can't just have, I'm going to have the number 1 receiver, but what if he goes down? What else do you have coming up? Same thing with the offensive line. We see how many guys these have been going down, and we're plugging and playing with the offense and defensive line with these guys that we have never seen or heard of. And, they're doing their best because the talent level is not there. So before we close out the Bears, I want to ask you a simple question. Do we sign Montgomery back?
For the right price. I mean, the guy's a leader. Like, I like David Montgomery. I think he's a leader on the team. I think he's a voice that guys listen to, especially in that running back room. I think the guys really rally around David. Yeah. You see his passion. You see his love for the game. The guy fights for every single down. But saying that, the way that he runs and the way the amount of shots he's taken, the mileage, I can't go over a certain number. Like, you just absolutely can't. And if you're going to give him the years, the number's got to come down. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go ahead and want to give him a 1-year deal at a certain price, okay. But I wouldn't go above $10 million.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you there. I think he's going to end up in the second to third tier because he's not Saquon, he's not Pollard. There's a bunch of running backs that are going to be available, but the Bears are not going to be in those discussions because we can always draft a running back and put someone out there. I just still like David Montgomery's leadership, and also he knows the playbook inside and out. He knows where to be, especially when the quarterback is scrambling. He knows they may go to the flat, or he's going to be there blocking for Justin. I think he's a great safety net. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He doesn't complain about his carries. He doesn't, he did score the other day, but what I'm saying is, like, he's a true professional at the running back position. He's dependable. He's really not hurt as often, as a lot of these running backs. Saquon was out for a while. Pollard came in because of what's his name in Dallas? Zeke. Zeke. He was out for a while, so Pollard blossomed a little bit. But what I'm saying is, I think you re-sign him for the right amount of money. I think no more than 3 years. You keep him there, as a good insurance. Yeah,
no, I agree. He's a leader in the locker room. He's bought into the culture. I mean, he embodies the culture, right? Just tough as nails. Puts his hard hat on, goes to work, doesn't complain. I just, you can't overpay, regardless of, like, the relationship and the play. You can't overpay for a guy who maybe like I said, I think the largest contract I would give, like, in years wise, would be 3, and I still wouldn't go over 10 mil. Like, that's kind of where I'm at, because I think he has a good 3 more years left. If he consistently in the NFL, if he stays healthy, good solid 3 years left at a reasonable production rate. But to overpay because you love the guy would be a mistake. Completely agree. We already seen the rest of the Chicago teams do that. They overpay for what they did in the past and not look at how the future is going to look for the team. And you're paying for the love of the guy rather than the production that you're going to see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Stirring the Pot after a word from our sponsors.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
This is Enrique Calderon coming to you from True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Come check me out on social media, Enrique Calderon Official on Instagram and Facebook. Check us out.
Y te lo dice
Enrique Calderon.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. Ivan's in here filling in, and you know what, brother? It's the time again, man. And if you don't know what time it is, man, it's time for Stirring the Pot. All right, brother. This is where we're going to turn it over to our guest. And we usually let the guests talk about a food that you like that other people might not like or think it's disgusting or just plain nasty. So, sir, what is something that you like to eat that no one else does?
Well, lengua tacos, bro.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, bro.
Oh
yeah.
no! Oh my!
Give me the lengua.
Shut your mouth.
No, man. You know what? It's funny because like I remember being a kid and I was like, my dad had introduced it to me.
Yeah.
He didn't say shit when he first got him.
Of course not.
So I was like, oh man, this is fire. So I'm just putting tacos down. You know what I'm saying? Just slaying tacos, and he tells me, he's like, you know, it's beef tongue. I'm like, well, you know what? That shit is delicious. So from then on, I was just like, I was hooked. Like I had no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was dating this young lady back in the day, and I would order the lengua tacos, and she would almost not want to even order it for me.
Oh wow.
Because she was so disgusted by it, and I was just like, I'm like, bro, why don't you try it? Like you might like it. It was like asking her to go ahead and do like the worst thing in her life. You know what I'm saying? It's asking her to like go ahead and like push her mom down the steps to go ahead and try this taco. You know what I'm saying? It was just, and I've gotten that from a lot of people, mainly women, like you know, mainly women. But I know a couple of dudes that are just like, that's disgusting, bro. You know what I'm saying? So for me, the lengua tacos, to me, it's just delicious. It tastes good. Like I don't have an issue with it. There's no texture issue.
So you just lengua tacos. So I mean that's not lettuce. It's cilantro and onions and some
cilantro,
lime,
onions,
and some
salsa,
salsa,
some lime,
and some
that's
salsa.
It. Yeah, and some salsa, and that's pretty much it, man. Like I'm not gonna go straight up and just cook a tongue and eat it straight. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll be a little weird. But like you chop it, you chop
cut it up. It's all good.
Yeah. You cut it up. You don't see the you don't see the shape of the tongue. You don't picture it or nothing like that. It's all
man.
It's delicious.
I grew up eating that, and it'd be mom would cook it every 2 weeks, something like that. And just like you, man. I would put down 6-7 tacos, no hesitation at all. And as I grew older, I started not liking the texture as I was eating it, and I was like, ugh. And there's a like I don't know how, I'm not a chef, but I feel like there's a specific way to cook it, or there's people who don't cook it the right way or prepare it the right way or something like that, and I think that's an issue as well. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Overcook it, maybe.
Overcook it, maybe.
It becomes rubbery. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Maybe I know for you probably just, since you had it all the time, I could see you growing out of it.
Yeah, that's part of it. But I mean, I can relate to you where you're being fed something, you're like, oh my god, this is delicious, and then you find out like, whoa, well, I don't know, maybe. I think I remember I was hanging out with some friends. I think we pulled an all-nighter, and then we ended up going to behind the Mega Mall. Behind the Mega Mall, there used to be like on the weekends, there used to be like a bunch of merchants back there, and there were tacos de canasta, so tacos inside of a basket, and they stay warm with the steam and whatever. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna get some tacos at the canasta. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, throw it down, let's go. And he's like, what do you want? I'm like, whatever you ordered, just bring it over, bro. Just as long as it has lime salsa and something to drink, I don't care. Like I want to avoid this hangover. And whatever, I'm eating these tacos and I'm throwing them down, man. He gave me like 6 of them because they're like really small. And I'm like, wow, these are great. And he's like, dang, you really like brains? I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, Cecil's.
See, that's where I cut. That's where I draw the line.
That was Cecil's.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line. I'm like, oh, no, sir.
Yeah, so
no, sir.
Yeah. That and the other one that I was fed was at a party and I didn't know what it was. It was tacos de cachete. So it's the cheeks of the of the animal. So yeah. So
how was that taste?
Actually, it was fucking delicious. That was fucking delicious. But when they told me, I was kind of grossed out a little bit. But I was like, hey, I'll have another one though. All right. Man. Yeah, before we get into the next thing, before we start talking about, funny shit that we watching, whatever, but let our listeners know where they can find you. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I was, you found me before at Sports Zone Chicago with Sean Sierra, but I've moved on. I went over to the Tape Never Lies Network, working with them. You can find me on Twitter if you want to go ahead and DM me. I'm IvanV_TTNL. We're all Bears. It's straight Bears talk, straight Bears love, straight Bears pride. We do a lot of stuff throughout the year, a lot of shows. We got about, let me go ahead and count we got about 4 or 5 shows now.
Okay, that's great.
Throughout the week. So we got, Bears Hour Live, which comes on right after the Bears game on the Tape Never Lies Network on YouTube. We got this Super 16 poll show with former Bear, former Notre Dame Irish Chris Zorich.
Beautiful.
So that's more of the college breakdown, like breaking down the polls. He does his Super 16 picks for the week. Then we have Keeping It Fantasy, another one which I'm on with a couple of guys from the network, Chris Jackal and Claudio the Barber. It's fantasy football, man, on Tuesday nights. It's a little later at 10 o'clock, but check us out. It's always fun.
This is all on YouTube, right? All on YouTube?
You can YouTube, Twitch. We're not streaming on Facebook as of right now. We stopped doing the streams on Facebook for there was one of our. It was just an issue that we had with one of our guys and his account. But yeah, we're on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch. Keeping It 100 on Wednesdays. That's at 7:30. That's pretty much our flagship show. But we have a lot of other stuff behind. I know it's on Patreon, but we have a lot of other breakdowns, tape breakdowns. We have Eric Kramer's QB School.
Nice.
Cars Keys, which is more of a statistician type of approach to the game. And then we have DDP's breakdowns. That's Draft Dr. Phil. He breaks down the tape for the Bears, gives you all the information you need to know. From his opinion, he has a lot of football knowledge, a lot of experience on the football field and coaching it. So it's a great network, great stuff that we're putting out, great shows, great content. So check us out. If you want to become a patron or check it out, go to www.thetapeneverlies.com. Sign up. If not, we have a lot of other free content that's great as well. So check us out. The Tape Never Lies. I'm IvanV_TTNL at Twitter.
Dude, that's amazing. Glad to see that you're busy and working and providing great content for all of your listeners. So I really appreciate you coming on and having fun with me. I know this is a different change of pace. I know our show is a little unorthodox is a good word I can use. But before we go, I want to know what you looking at, man. What you watching that is in sports?
Honestly, every Christmas movie, bro.
Oh my God.
I got the kids. So my daughter, it's kind of cool because she likes Home Alone. Like she's 4 years old, but she loves Home Alone. So she's watching it. She knows Kevin. She knows Marv and so, she knows the characters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. We could relate there. Father, daddy, daughter time. That's awesome. But it's nonstop Christmas movies around this time of year, bro. You know how it is. Like I got National Lampoon Christmas Vacation on.
Yes.
I got just a bunch of stuff. Christmas Story. Just all Christmas movies around this time. I know it's cheesy, but it's like it's the perfect time. It's the time of year. It's what I what I like to do now, especially getting older with the family and stuff. You want to sit down and just be, maybe have a little eggnog or coquito or whatever.
There you go. Now we go. Now we talking my language. Have some coquito ready.
Yeah. Right. And then, you're chilling with the kids, chilling with the family, just watching movies and stuff, getting ready for Christmas time. So that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now.
Speaking of Christmas movie, have you seen the new Christmas movie with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, Spirited?
I have not.
It's actually a pretty. It's a lot of musical.
See, I heard it was a musical, and that's what threw me off. Because I was ready to go put it on, and somebody told me it was a musical, and I'm like,
Yeah, you know what?
I'm not those are one thing. That's the one genre. Like musicals, I'm not saying that I never watched a musical, but you got to have a great story for me to go ahead and sit here and watch you singing and dancing and doing all this stuff. Like musicals and me are kind of like we have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, and I you know what? I like Grease.
Grease,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I watched it and I wasn't too happy about it. Maybe because I was watching it while I was tired, but it was a lot of musical for me, for my taste. I think it's a good story, but I just think that the musicals were a little bit too much a part of the story. But you got to understand, it's a Christmas movie, right? It's supposed to be cheesy and musical and all that stuff, but it's got a great cast. There's some pretty good jokes. The outtakes are fucking hilarious. I mean, it's Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I mean, can you like the ab-libbing that's going to go on in that movie? It's phenomenal. But I was like, it's okay. It's okay. So I definitely want to give it another chance. I'm not one of those persons that, I didn't like it and never watch it again. Sometimes you got to take a step back and rewatch something and be like, oh, I get it now.
It's a real question for you. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So is Gremlins.
That's what I want. Yeah, so is Gremlins. I just watched Gremlins the other night. But yes, Die Hard is a Christmas. It's actually been the most played movie in my house. I bought
it on digital. As soon as it came up on digital, I bought that. I was like, yeah, this is something we're watching every single year. It's got to be a staple.
Have you seen Fat Man with Mel Gibson?
No.
Bro,
is that
watch
good?
that movie. Watch that movie. Go download it or whatever. Download it. Watch Fat Man. It's a different Santa Claus. He's a badass Santa Claus. The story's badass. Like Santa's drinking and shit. It's go check it out. A lot of gunfights.
Ooh, yes.
It's hilarious.
Right.
It's hilariously funny. It's a dope movie.
I'll put that on the list to watch this weekend. But it's been a fun time, man. But I did get to watch a newer movie called The Menu. Have you heard of it?
I heard of it. I haven't.
It's with John Leguizamo. He plays one of the characters on there. So it's a young couple that goes to an ultra exclusive restaurant on a secluded island run by Chef Ralph Fiennes, who kind of like looks and sounds like Robin Williams at times. As I was watching, I'm like, man, he's got some facial expressions and some inflection in his voice that kind of sounds like Robin. But the whole staff is like a cult. And they're all devoted to the chef, and it just gets weirder and weirder because you're put in a situation because you got all these rich people and they're like, oh, this is exclusive and this is awesome and ambience, and they're paying for bullshit.
Right.
Let's be honest, they pay for bullshit. So it just takes a weird turn, and man, it gets nuts. It's one of those movies. See, I don't know if you do you like gore? Like gory
Not
movies?
necessarily. It depends on how the movie. If it's just like straight up, like Saw, I'm not gonna watch Saw.
Oh, I was a big fan of Saw. It's not there, but
yeah,
I can appreciate Saw for how it's written and how the story takes you through different perspectives and different locations and how it comes all together at the end. That's the type of writing, and I think that's what they were going for like what is that other movie, Crash?
Okay.
Yeah, so where there's multiple stories, so you don't know why these characters are all there, and at the end, it's you figure out how these guys all come together, and how this story accumulates. So, I would say don't go if you can find it online, go watch it online. I wouldn't spend money to go see it, but I thought it was a great take on how they did things. So. Oh man, I think that's it for this week, man. I think we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, Dan, I had a ton of fun, man. I can't, if you never need me again, I'm down to help out, down to jump out, down to shoot the shit with you, man. It was a great conversation. I enjoyed it. We had a lot more this way. I was expecting sports, and it was a lot more than sports, and I appreciate that because like sometimes you get a little you get a little fatigued with the sports talk.
Yeah.
It's good to talk about some other things. So it was a great time, man.
We try to, shoot the shit, have some fun, laugh a little bit, and then talk about food. Sometimes we go to different locations and, like, hey, I tried this restaurant. You should go try it out. We're trying to be real, Like, we do have other lives besides sports. Sports may be the main thing that drives us at the same time, but I love to eat. I know you love to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And, we love entertainment, I don't, like we talked about musicals. I mean, I've seen Wicked. I've gone seen all different types of stuff. Oh, actually, I saw A Bronx Tale about 4 years ago. Yeah, about 3-4 years ago. A Bronx Tale musical. That shit was amazing. One of my favorite movies.
I never knew it was a musical.
Yeah, it was a short engagement, but it was literally the story that you saw on film. Just with different actors and so forth, but they gave Jane a little bit more exposure, more of a backstory and more of a prevalent in the main story. So you understood her perspective on a lot of things. Obviously, you go to theater, you expect it's going to be a lot of singing, so you know what you're going into. So yeah. I'm all over the place. I like a lot of shit, man. So I like to talk about a lot of shit. So for us, it's a fun time, and I really appreciate you coming on and filling in big shoes. And I think we'd love to have you as much as possible on the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Just like I said, you know the line. Just hit me up, and if I can help you out, I definitely would try to do that. Awesome.
All right, man. You already let the listeners know where they can find you. Send me those links and I'll put them into the description of the show so they can always click on it. But again, thank you so much for joining the show, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, bro.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. A big thank you to Ivan Vargas for filling in for E-Rock this week. A big thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at checkout for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your shirts now. Check out the rest of the 606 Media lineup. The newest show in the 606 family is the No Water on the Weekend with Steven and Sean, a pop culture forward podcast that dabbles in funny trivia, film, television, music, and Chicago-centric news and happenings. New episodes available on Mondays. Check them out. You're going to have a good time. You're going to laugh. These guys are funny, and I can't wait to get back on the podcast with them. So look out for that. The Bulls. Yes, the Bulls are back. I know they're struggling a little bit right now, but the Bulls are back. That's right. The NBA is back in action. 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Shy Native Entertainment present the All Net podcast. Make sure to check them out. All Net with Mike Logic and Ideal after every Bulls game for breakdown and analysis. The Shy Native Radio podcast is available now on all major platforms. Mike Logic, Ideal, and Throw MC talk about sports, movies, and all types of ill shit. Go and check them out now. Shout out to Ronish, Panic, Serious Beats, and custom made for the beats that we're playing on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for your moment, merch, and gear. Check us out on social media. You can find us at True Shy Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, IG, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z and Ivan and E-Rock, we'll see you next time for episode 122. Until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth, lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos. That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.